First of all, I will introduce myself and I will request my subcommittee members to introduce, and then I will move on to the officers and then applicant and then responsible authorities and other parties to introduce themselves. After that, I will invite committee lawyer to outline the procedures. So my name is Councillor Masood Ahmad, and I'm the chair of licensing subcommittee. Next.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. My name is Carey, Councillor for Chingford Green.
Hello. My name is Raja Anwar. I'm a councillor for High Street Ward.
Thank you. And officers?
Good morning, all. My name is Chris Foxton, Democratic Services and Clerk to the Licensing Committee.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Susan Ferguson, Licensing Officer.
Dania Kalantari, Solicitor, Committee Lawyer. Thank you.
Enforcement Officer, and I'll be the responsible authority for the licensing team today.
Morning, everyone. My name is Peter Carey. I'm the Service Manager for Air Quality and Environmental Protection, and I'm here in my capacity as in relation to public nuisance, the responsible authority for public nuisance. Thank you.
Maybe if the applicant could introduce at this point.
Yeah, I think that must be me then. Hi, my name's Abby Lee Widger. I'm the Secretary of Walthamstow Trades Hall, and I'm also the Designated Premises Supervisor for Walthamstow Trades Hall.
Thank you.
And I've got two, do I introduce the two people that are with me now? Sorry, can you all hear me? Yeah, great. Okay, so with me today, I don't know if there is Julia Spicer, who is the President of Walthamstow Trades Hall, and Matt Fernad, who is one of our regular sound engineers.
Thank you.
And if I think we've got representations from residents as well, if they could introduce themselves.
Kathy, I think you're on mute. Sorry. I'll start. Steve Walker. I'm resident across the road from the Trades Hall. Good morning.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Daly. I'm also a resident on the road.
Thank you.
Hello, hi. I'm Aftab, and I'm also a resident across the road of Trades.
Thank you.
I think it's just Katazana, just to check that you can hear us. I'm not sure we can hear you. I can see that you're unmuted, but I can't hear you, just to make sure that your web browser isn't blocking your audio. What I will do, I think there might be an issue. I'll try and quickly email you like a quick troubleshooting guide. But I think for the meantime, we'll carry on with the hearing process, but I'll try and send you a quick kind of couple of troubleshooting points at the same time. So yeah, Chair, if we move on to the process.
Yeah, okay. So welcome again, and thank you very much for your introductions. I will now like to invite Donia as a committee lawyer to outline the procedures, please.
We'll proceed by way of agenda item 3 in the agenda. The licensing officer will present their report. The chair will then call for all parties to present their case, followed by questions. We will begin with the applicant, then the other person, then the responsible authorities, and then the other parties. The chair will then call for all parties to sum up their case. We'll begin with the responsible authorities, the other parties, and then the applicant. The subcommittee will then retire to make its decision. The decision will usually will be given within 5 working days of this meeting, and Christopher will post the letters to all the parties present. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to Susan Ferguson, Licensing Officer, presents the report.
Thank you, Chair. An application for the variation of a premises licence has been received from the Walthamstow Trades Hall and Institute Limited, where the applicant seeks to vary the premises licence to permit the following: live music, Thursday, 1900 to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 1900 to 0200, Sunday, midday to 2300. Recorded music, Monday to Wednesday, 1100 to 2300, Thursday, 1100 to midnight, Friday and Saturday, midday to 0200, Sunday, 12 to 2300. Supply of alcohol, Sunday to Thursday, 1100 to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 1100 to 0200. Hours premises are open to the public, Sunday to Thursday, 0900 to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 0900 until 0200. There are non-standard timings to 0200 on Christmas and New Year's Eve. A full copy of the application can be found at Appendix A to the report, and details of the existing premises licence can be found at Appendix C. The licensing section received 9 representations from the responsible authorities, premises licensing and environmental health, noise, and other persons, Appendix E, on the grounds of prevention of public nuisance and prevention of crime and disorder. After giving due consideration to the representations made and taking into account the views of the applicant, and after giving due regard to the amended guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act and the Council's own statement of licensing policy, the committee is respectfully asked to determine whether the application to vary a premises licence should be granted in full, granted in part, or refused. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Susan. Now I can invite questions. Is that right, or shall I move to the applicant straight? Christopher.
Yes, Chair, move to the applicant.
Yeah, thank you. Over to the applicant, please. Councillor Anwar, do you have any questions? Councillor Anwar is muted.
Yeah, I would like to say that they are running a business. Do they have SIA people standing up there, or if there is any fight or anything, that they are there to deal with it. Second thing is for the safety of the people, what they have done in that sense.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear your questions, but we only have SIA door staff outside on karaoke Friday nights to ask people to move into the car park to be quiet. We don't need SIA door staff because we don't have any sort of particular issues with undesirable behaviour and that sort of thing. We've never in 101 years needed SIA door staff, but because of the sort of the ongoing issues with neighbours feeling unhappy with the noise on karaoke Fridays, and because we were asking staff to work outside, we felt it appropriate that we should use SIA staff. But you know, again, this is another huge expense that we would not have had in the past, but again, we're quite happy to do that. I'm not sure what the question about people's safety is. We've never had a safety issue with people on the site. I don't know if you want to sort of expand on that.
Okay, thank you.
It's okay, yeah. All right, thank you very much. Responsible authorities, do you have any questions to the applicant?
Thank you, Chair. This is Peter Carey from the Air Quality and Environmental Protection team. I wanted to ask Abby about how the sound engineer will undertake noise monitoring and what limits and how you will go about setting limits for noise to ensure that there isn't a nuisance caused.
So to answer the question about measuring, we have been using a decibel reader app on our phones called Decibel X, which I discovered quite fabulously only on Saturday night. I can actually photograph where I'm taking the reading, so it gives the location, the date and the time, as well as the actual sound reading at the same time. However, we found that different phones give inconsistencies in the reading, so we are going to purchase an actual decibel reader so that the same reader can be used every time. The plan, which we've been sort of informally doing until we get the actual decibel reader, but what we do is we take readings sort of at 9, 10, 11, 12 and 1 a.m. and we take them at the front of the building, which is on Hoe Street, which is where the traffic noise is the loudest. We take it at the front door, which is opposite some residents on Tower Hamlets Road, and we take it in the rear car park, which is where we know the music sound travels the most because of an air duct we have. So in terms of the readings, it will be done consistently with the decibel reader, and then we will record the readings on a spreadsheet. In terms of, sorry, the second part of your question was how the sound engineers will control the sound and keep the bass levels low and that sort of thing.
That's correct. It's all very well taking noise readings, but you've got to make sure that you know what limits the noise has got to be limited to. So I'm just wondering how that's going to happen.
Am I allowed to ask Matt, who is a sound engineer for us, to answer that question, because he'll give you a more technical answer than I will, if that's all right?
Yep, okay.
I'm hoping Matt's there and he's not working at the moment. Oh, there he is.
No, I'm here, thank you. So yes, thanks for the chance to speak. So yes, the approach that we're planning to take in the long term is to monitor those levels, as Abby said, and keep detailed records so that we can assess, like as you say, we need a baseline to understand at what level people feel that the noise is intrusive or is kind of causing disturbance. And so we need to begin by keeping records and comparing those to times when the neighbours have complained, so that we can double check that the levels are within reasonable standards, and we get ourselves a baseline set of measures that we know we can use inside the building, which we can monitor continuously, and then go around and do our hourly checks to make sure outside. We are aware that, for example, bass is intrusive, and we do take a lot of methods, because it's not just about the absolute level, it's the quality of the sound, obviously, as we know. It's those kind of things that we need to be monitoring very carefully. So we do tend to take a lot of steps to control the bass on the system there, because it is it's something we're very aware of, is one of the biggest causes of what in terms of the music intrusion anyway. So does that answer your question, Peter?
Yes, I think it does, and that's very helpful. But you actually haven't got this system in place at the moment. You don't have a baseline levels to work to at the moment.
No, we're just beginning that detailed record keeping process now. So at the moment we do subjective tests. I mean, it's not difficult to stand outside and assess whether the bass is too heavy. We had an event last week where I was very concerned about bass, and I was checking regularly just on a subjective thing, just to stand outside and see if the noise was level, is beyond that. Because obviously on a human level we just want to get on with people, but we appreciate we need to keep those detailed records, just so that we can have the evidence to back up that we're behaving responsibly as well.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful.
Thank you. Any other person from responsible authorities? If not, I move on to the other parties. Sharman, sorry, you want to speak? You want to ask questions?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Abby. Just a few quick questions. I know you mentioned about the Decibel X on the phone that you use.
Can you raise your volume? We can't.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
Thank
you. Good. Microphone slightly low. Okay, so I know you mentioned about the Decibel X software that you use. Does it require like calibration at all, or is it? I know you mentioned that obviously that with different phones it's slightly different, but does it need to be calibrated to anything, or is it just an app that is ready to use and it's standardized for everyone?
Yes, it is. It's a ready-to-use app, but I think that's why the purchase of a decibel reader will give us better consistency.
Okay, cool. You also mentioned about the SIA door staff on the karaoke nights. I just wanted to know in terms of time-wise, what times do you employ them to start to finish?
Yeah, so they are employed to start at 9 o'clock, and then they finish at the moment. They finish at 1:30 because the event finishes at 1. So they have to stay until all the customers have left the premises, which is normally by about 1:15. But obviously we book them till 1:30 to ensure that everyone's left.
Okay, for the dispersal. So that will be reflected potentially in the extension. So I guess till 2:30 if that was to be granted.
Yeah. So it would be. I mean, to be honest, I don't think I'd want karaoke itself to run past 1 a.m. anyway. But yes, if we had an event that was finishing later that we required SIA door staff for, obviously we would employ them until half an hour after the event finished.
Okay, cool. In terms of arranged events, I mean, is it your intentions to have externally arranged events for private hire, so it will be a separate entity from the club, or would it always be club functions?
I think it's likely to be a mix, but predominantly club functions. So, the one that's on the horizon at the moment is the 29th of January. We have a big fundraiser for Eat or Heat. I'd like that event to finish at 1 o'clock. So I would shut the bar at 1 o'clock, but I don't want to be pushing. I'm hoping it will be a popular event because it's a Carey fundraiser for this local charity. So I don't want to be pushing everyone out of the door. Now, at the moment, where my license finishes at 1 a.m, I have to get everybody to drink up and be off the premises by 1:20. If I have a license till 2, this means that I can shut the bar at 1, but I can allow people to continue to drink their drinks that they purchased at 1 for longer. So I'm not having this thing where I'm pushing, say, 50 people out onto Tower Hamlets Road at 1:20 a.m. I can let people go when they're ready and remain legally compliant. So this was my point to Councillor Kay earlier about that a large part of this is for legal compliance to assist with sort of moving crowds and maintaining the quiet on Tower Hamlets Road in order to have, you know, when we have special events. But yes, you know, potentially if we had that extension and somebody wanted to hire it for a particular event, we would consider that. But each event has to be taken on its merits. It's not a blanket, yes, everything will be till 2 a.m. all the time. In the same way that at the moment I have a license till 1 on Fridays and Saturdays that most weeks I don't use. Last weekend we shut the bar on Friday and Saturday night at midnight, but we allowed people to stay on site till 1 a.m. and we weren't taking their drinks off of them because we didn't have to. So I hope that answers your question.
Yep, it does. I mean, with that in mind, just expanding on that a little bit, just in terms of like external or private hire events, the involvement of the club itself, would it be just total separation? Is it like they would then hire the venue and it's like you sort it out yourselves, or
no, we don't work like that. Anybody who hires the venue is given a set of terms and conditions that they're bound by. Obviously it's our staff that are still on site, it's our committee members that are still on site, even if it is a private hire event. So no, it's not like we just hand over the building and disappear and leave them to make their own, because you know that's not how we work.
Good. Just checking. Just a question in terms of like the front doors. I know it's a double door, so you've got the corridor as well. Are they at any time open at all? I know obviously with COVID times now, ventilation is key. Do you ever have the front doors open during the evenings that remain open for an excessive period?
Not for an excessive period, no. So for example, on Saturday night, we did have them open till about 8 p.m. Sorry, and then we had, because we can open the fire door and the windows, so we can do the airflow for COVID without having the front doors open. But then at about 11:30, we did have all the doors open for about 10 minutes to allow the band to take their stuff out, but we asked the band to be quiet and to respect our neighbours. And our inside door person was on duty to make sure there was no noise and that the doors were shut as soon as the band had finished loading.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious in terms of it was like potential noise being an issue because of the doors being opened throughout for duration, but that's fine. I think Councillor Einma did highlight something about like safety, and I think from the perspective of the use of the fire escape as a smoking area. So I don't know if the committee are aware of the setup of the fire escape, but it's actually raised. I'd say it's about first floor level, and it's a railings barrier, probably about 1.5 meters high. So in terms of practically monitoring the area, just from a health and safety aspect, would you be able to have the staff in place to check that you know, people are slightly intoxicated, for instance, are behaving sensibly in that area? So it's like those measures that I would be curious to see how you would
so we are looking at a number. Well, we have agreed with our fire risk assessor that we will have signage, and we will have the CCTV extended so that the bar staff can always view the fire escape for any potential issues, and we will put in at least hourly staff checks from 8 p.m. till close out there, to sort of monitor all those different issues that may arise but hopefully won't arise.
Good. Thank you very much, Abby. I've got no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherman. Now I invite other parties for questions. Other parties, questions to the applicant.
May I ask briefly?
Yeah, Steve.
I think we were hoping to speak, but it's not necessarily to ask a question. Is that opportunity further through the meeting?
Yeah, you will have the opportunity later.
Okay.
At the moment, it's only question to the applicant.
I understand. Thank you.
What she said, you know, if you have any questions. Any other? If not, then I can move to the responsible authorities.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Okay, so I raised a point in my representation that the prevention of crime and disorder license and objective could be negatively impacted by extended license of activity times. However, from the submissions provided by Abby, detailing the measures currently in place or proposed to implement, such as no drinking containers permitted outside, SIA registered door staff being used on Fridays when karaoke is taking place, inside door staff employed on Friday and Saturday nights from 7 until the end of an event, operating the Ask Angela scheme, commitment to the continued staff training and staff vigilance around serving underage or intoxicated customers, regular patrols of outside areas are all positive steps to promote the crime and disorder licensing objectives. Further steps would be to have an assurance of set times for the SIA door staff, which Abby has highlighted, and the duties and let me start again. So further steps would be to have an assurance of the set times the SIA door staff would be employed, as highlighted by Abby, to undertake their duties, and a risk assessment undertaken for ticketed or any possible externally arranged events to determine any such events warrants the need of SIA door staff. So potentially if it is a private event, then a risk assessment is taken to see if it wants to have a door staff. However, the main concern I raised is founded on the complaints that we have received about noise nuisance, and this is very much a key problem to be addressed. Abby and Julia, the club president, have made an effort to address these issues as detailed within their submission, having identified a number of measures that could reduce the noise nuisance. I'm not very knowledgeable regarding the decibel levels referenced or audio equipment level settings, so I couldn't comment on the suggested sound levels or the work the club are willing to undertake to minimize noise escaping from the premises. The only point I have to raise would be that the concern should be the level of the noise that is registered by the most affected residents, and any assessment should be from these premises at the times that appear to have the most impact, so late in the evening or night times. It's unfortunate that the licensing team was not approached prior to the application submission or during the consultation period to discuss any measures potentially to resolve the issues that have led to the current complaints, as we would have tried to assist them where we can. As there are unresolved noise nuisance complaints, I maintain my objection to the granting of the extension of hours, and we would expect the premises demonstrates it can operate for a period of time without complaints or nuisance before a variation to extend hours is considered. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I can now invite questions from subcommittee. Any questions to Sherman?
No, Chair.
No?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Questions from the applicant. Abby, do you have any questions to the responsible authority?
I'm echoing. I don't have any questions for.
You don't have to ask, but if you have any clarification you need to know, this is the opportunity for
I
that.
think it's very clear what he's saying. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And questions from the other parties? No? Thank you very much. Now I can move to the other parties now. Steve, you wanted to speak?
Excuse me, Chair. This
Peter.
is Peter Carey. I did make a representation as a responsible authority, so I did want to make a statement.
You don't want to make a statement?
No, I do want to make a statement.
You do?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, okay. You start with.
Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah, as I said earlier, my name is Peter Carey. I'm the Service Manager for the Air Quality and Environmental Protection Service. I have a diploma in environmental health, a diploma in acoustics and noise control, and over 40 years experience in environmental health in various local authorities. So the council has a duty under the Environmental Protection Act to investigate nuisance complaints, and this does overlap with our role as a responsible authority. At this time, the time the application was made, my team was investigating complaints about noise emanating from the trades hall. The complaint that we had received concerned amplified music and noise from people outside the premises, particularly in the late evening, early morning. The nights when disturbance has most commonly been reported are Fridays and Saturdays, and the main issue is the sort of 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. period. Our investigation is still ongoing, as it's not straightforward to gather the evidence. I have installed noise monitoring equipment with one of the residents in Tower Hamlets Road on one occasion, covering an event on the 24th of December 2021. And I've now listened to those recordings, and what I heard is consistent with the disturbance that is being reported, i.e. the music noise and noise from people talking. The noise was audible, and in my opinion, it was likely to disturb someone who was trying to sleep. But as this is the only occasion I have direct evidence so far, we still need to carry out further checks to establish whether there is a statutory noise nuisance. However, I am satisfied there is a basis for the complaints, which is why I've made this representation. As Sherman indicated, he and I met the club secretary and club president to discuss the noise issues, and I really do believe they are trying to address these and looking at a range of issues. However, I'm not yet satisfied that the controls that are being proposed will be sufficient to resolve all the issues. In relation to the music noise, the applicant has made a number of statements about limits in terms of decibels and proposed using the mobile phone app. However, measuring and assessing noise is a really technical issue, and I don't believe that the applicant has a sufficient understanding of the measurement of noise, how to set a decibel level and avoid nuisance disturbance. I am pleased to hear from Matt earlier, and hopefully that issue can be overcome. But just to give one example, the applicant in her statement said that levels outside the building will not exceed 65 decibels. Well, 65 decibels is extremely loud. It's a sort of limit that might be imposed for a pop concert, and it really isn't appropriate for a residential setting. The basis for setting any noise limit in this situation is to understand what the underlying environmental noise level is without any music, and you can then use this to set a limit and then determine what the source level in the club can be. I was really pleased to hear Matt say that is the approach they're going to take, but it obviously isn't yet in position. Regarding the people noise outside the club, again, there's been a number of positive proposals, and I think the moving the smoking area to the fire exit area, could be a big step forward. But all these things need to be bedded in and evaluated, and it still remains a difficult area. I accept it's difficult for the club to control, as the road and path outside is sort of public highway, and they don't have direct control over what happens out there. But it's an area which remains a risk. So in conclusion, I acknowledge the club president, the club secretary and president are trying very hard to deal with the issues. I also understand the club is an important community resource, but I have found evidence that the club's operations are impacting or have impacted on residents, enjoying their ability, affecting their ability to enjoy their homes. So my recommendation would be that the application is refused at this point until the club can control the measures, can demonstrate that the measures they're putting in place to deal with the issues within the currently permitted hours, which already extend to 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. on a Friday and Saturday, are effective. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Peter. Next one, other parties. Who wants to speak? Steve?
I'd be very happy to speak, thank you. I'm speaking sort of on behalf of a number of people who are on the call, so they may also want to chip in, but I'll start things off. Hopefully the committee has seen the representations that we made, so I don't really want to kind of go over that in great detail, but I think the thing that we'd want to emphasise is that as a group of residents, we've been positive and trying to engage with the club, with Abby Lee and So I think first and foremost, we recognise that the club's an important community asset, and we're not here to try and unpick that. It's been here a long time. However, the group of people that have been engaging with that are the people who live in the buildings immediately around it. I could hit it with a stone from where I'm sat right now. But the issue that we've got is that all of us are long-standing residents, but that we are noticing a new noise burden and a new disturbance. And I think the club is under a new managing committee. It has new energy and a new kind of approach to how they want to run the venue in terms of the types of events they're putting on, the kind of clientele they're attracting. And clearly that's great for the club because they're being very successful. However, when you put that together with the big new sound system that they bought recently, that is really starting to notice. And it was very telling that as the club was kind of gearing up with this new equipment and new approach, we very quickly all came to the same sort of view that actually this was a much bigger, much more significant disturbance than we have been used to for a very long time. So I think that's the sort of the nub of our challenge, really. I mean, we really support the club as a community venue. We've been involved in helping fix up the garden, mopping up floods when the dance floor got flooded. We do support them and kind of get stuck in there. But I think the group of people locally around, who are facing directly onto the building are struggling at the moment. I think it was really helpful to hear that some letters of support have been submitted. It's telling to notice that they're from people at the other end of the street. They're at least 100 metres or so away. So it's sort of noticeable that this group that's on the call are immediately around the building. And just as a final note, I think the disturbance is a very subjective thing. I appreciate that, but I made some notes on my phone at 11:20 on Monday night this week, where I started writing down the set list of music that I could hear coming from the club. And that to me, when I'm lying in bed trying to get to sleep and I can actually identify the songs that are being sung across the road, felt like a bit of an imposition. So I'll just ask whether anybody else from our residents group on the call wanted to chip in as well, but I hope that's helpful.
Thank you very much, Steve. Any other resident who wants to speak on behalf of the residents?
Hello, hi, it's Sarah. Number 80. Thank you for that, Steve. Agree with what you're saying. But the only thing that I would like to point out is the staff that get employed on the karaoke nights. I live directly opposite the club. The evidence I've seen of having door staff on those nights. The evidence I've seen in terms of crowd control and dispersing that crowd control, I've seen people come out when the kind of crowds are already quite established, rather than having somebody there at the front kind of monitoring and like dispersing the crowds into the car parks or like further away from the road itself. And I was also interested to know whether it was a possibility to get somebody on the door on a more regular basis, i.e. not just karaoke nights on the weekends, because I feel like there are other nights that are kind of equally as disruptive, possibly, let's say. So that was just a kind of a possible suggestion from my side, whether that would be something that you would entertain.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will appreciate if you don't repeat anything which is already said. However, I give opportunity to residents to speak. And any other resident?
Chair, just check if Katarzyna can speak. Just
Katarzyna. Yeah. Okay. Katarzyna, over to you.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, Well, I've been listening what Abby is saying so far, how she's managing the noise. And basically what I want to say, I'm not sure what the app is she using, but this app certainly is not reading bass tones. And I'm sure she's not checking with this app noise level every single venue. And I'm not sure why is she pointing only karaoke nights, because there were really very loud proper concerts like rock or reggae, and it was nothing to do with karaoke. And then the noise level was super high. And of course, she's got license sometimes till 1 o'clock, but sometimes these people were even playing till 2 o'clock on the night. So I know that as well she's pointing, she is doing some events for charities, but to really, she really wants this license to be longer. But the problem is club is not ready for this kind of operation. And then I can't really see myself, I'm directly next to the club, to live normal life. I work for NHS under massive pressure. I'm entitled to have a really good rest. And that even weekends, certainly weekends, we need as well to rest. And I don't understand why this license shouldn't be really running till midnight, because of course it's a problem with crowds, still is a problem with crowds. And then as well, Abby was saying about really recent days when it's really cold outside, but this, what we survived during the summer with this, the windows were open, it was unbelievable. We were so exhausted, these people who are living on the bottom of the street. And then again, when she took the statement from the residents who are supporting this kind of venues and very loud music, these people are living on the upper road. So they have no clue how this affects our lives. I don't have personally children, but I know other residents, they have children, and children can't sleep even on the back bedrooms. So this is my point of view, really.
Thank you. Abby, I will give you a chance to ask questions. Let me find out if any other resident wants to speak. If not, I can now invite subcommittee members to ask questions, if any, to the residents. If not, then I can ask the applicant. Abby, you can ask question.
I just wanted to come back to what was just stated about 11:20 on Monday night. You know, bearing in mind that we shut at 11 o'clock on Monday nights, and also this issue that keeps coming up again about music at 2 a.m. And, you know, if we are made aware of these at the time or perhaps the next day, I can then check the CCTV and I can check the alarm records for what time we did actually lock up. You know, I'm completely staggered about Monday night, and I don't believe that could be us. But as it's just come up, you know, I don't have the chance yet to go and check my alarm records. And, you know, we've had noise nuisance from residents on the street in the past. And I wonder sometimes that the club is being blamed for other people's music. The issue with the summer that Katia raised, you know, was obviously COVID related. At the time, we were required to do a large amount of airflow. So we did have the front doors wide open. We had the fire escape wide open and all the windows wide open.
Sorry, Abby, sorry, I can stop you here. It's an occasion only to ask questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the question is,
you will have the opportunity later on.
So I suppose the question is, how do Steve and Katia know that it was us and not somebody else making those noises at the times when I know the club was shut?
Thank you.
I think that's a fair question. As I was trying to get to sleep in bed at the time, we could hear the noise coming from across the street. That was my kind of assumption. So I will admit that that is, that's something that would warrant investigation, and I apologise if I'm wrong.
And also, you would have contacted the council noise team?
I think we've, as a family, we've slightly got past the point of contacting the noise team, because there would have been so many occasions over the last 6 months or 8 months when we would have, been calling. I think I think particularly the reason why it was at the forefront of my mind was in the light of this discussion that we were having today, which is why I made a note of it. But I wouldn't normally call the noise team.
Okay, thank you very much. Responsible authority, do you have any questions to the residents?
I've got no questions, Chair.
Oh, lovely.
No questions for me either, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Now I move to the last item, which is summing up your case. So I will invite the responsible authority to sum up, please. Sorry, you will have your turn, Abby. You will have your turn. First is the responsible authorities.
Thank you, Chair. First, I should commend Abby and the efforts that she has produced in terms of the works and trying to get things together in terms of the fire brigade and the noise aspects. I can see that there are things in place that could potentially help to alleviate any of the noise issues. But at this stage, they are merely suggestions, and they are in the proposal phase, and it's difficult to truly be satisfied that the measures will translate into net elimination of the noise issues looking to be addressed. Ideally, we would want the premises to initially put in place noise measures that they have detailed and operate within the existing licensed activity times for a period without any noise complaints. Then, let's say after several months, they could then reapply for the variation of the premises license, where if there are no issues, this would be more favourable in terms of their position to satisfy the prevention of public nuisance licensing objectives. So I think our position still remains that the license shouldn't be granted, but we can see that the potential is there, and maybe in a couple of months' time, if we're satisfied that the noise issues are abated, then we would be in support of an application being submitted. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The
Chair,
other part, the other part.
Chair, so this is Peter Carey again. I just want to endorse what Sherman has said. And I won't repeat it all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The applicant, Abby, over to you. Only summing up.
Oh, sorry, Chair. It's usually the applicant usually has the last summary, so it'll be the other persons and then the applicant will close.
All right. Other persons, I thought Peter Carey said it. Any other one wants to sum up? Steve? Katarzyna?
I think we've probably said plenty, but thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Right. Katarzyna?
Well, I from my side, I still insist the application to extend the hours of the functioning club should be rejected. As we had originally, we never complained. We went for a meeting with Abby and we raised our issues. It was a lot of promises and nothing is happening. So from this point of view, I don't feel they are ready, the club, because they promise as well sound.
Can't hear. Something happened technically?
I think she's frozen.
To extend the license, even this license is quite too long. I think it should be ending all the activities around midnight. So this is my point.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other? No? Over to Abby. Just summing up, please.
Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah,
Can I
I
just
can hear
ask
you.
a point of process? Sorry, I didn't understand. I thought there was going to be a question, a section where we were allowed to ask other people to speak. So, for instance, our president hasn't had an opportunity to speak. Have I misunderstood the process somewhere?
Well, your president should be part of the applicant.
Yeah. So should I have invited her to speak?
No, I will not. No, I'm at the final stage.
Okay, no, that's fine. So in summary, just to reiterate what I said in my written representation, that we have been on the site for 101 years. We are a community venue, which I don't think anybody disputes. And, we are absolutely willing to work with licensing and enforcement to monitor our levels for a couple of months to see if the measures we are putting in place are adequate.
All right. Thank you very much. And I will thank each and every one of you for your contributions. It's a very important item and it's a very important application. We have heard the views of the responsible authorities, the applicant and the residents. So now the subcommittee will retire to make up their mind for decision. And rest is I pass over to Christopher Foxton and he will explain